am here with Bridget Condon of the NFL Network. Bridget, you were at General Manager John Lynch's press conference with me. Got a pretty significant update on quarterback Brock Purdy. How does that bode for him returning in time at some point for training camp?
I think one of the biggest things that John Lynch talked about today in positive news to take away from it is that, yes, this timeline of him having surgery is a bit delayed because they wanted to wait for the swelling to go down before going in and repairing that injury. But he did say this is a long-term situation. Brock Purdy is just 22 years old, so maybe it is going to be a couple weeks later or a month later. We don't even know that at this point, but this is a long-time player that, in 10 years, are you going to remember that maybe it took him a little bit longer to get back on the field this season? I think it's all positive news. It sounds like Brock Purdy's spirits are high and he's doing as much as he can to stay prepared. And I think, when you just think about Brock Purdy and him going in this season and how well prepared he was, I don't think this is going to be any kind of setback for him.
And also positive news coming out about Trey Lance, who appears to be starting his throwing program, and John Lynch saying that he's actually able to see him working out through his office window. So if you could tell us more about that.
Yeah, that was kind of funny to get that visual of John Lynch, working out his computer, looking out, making sure Trey Lance, we hear all these, reports about how Trey Lance is doing when the person who probably is seeing him the best view is John Lynch in his office. Great to hear that he's back there. John Lynch mentioned that he doesn't seem to have a limp or any kind of thing, and he is back throwing. And it was also really cool, I don't know if you had heard this story before, but to just talk about the character of Trey Lance, and that's one of the big reasons why they drafted him, and talking about when Brock Purdy took over, it was Trey Lance and their relationship, who they kind of talked to and figured things out with, which was really interesting to hear that side of him, the off-the-field Trey Lance.
Yeah, it's definitely the high character is something that we do hear a lot about in the locker room. And I also did want to ask you about the hire of defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. You spent some time near the Carolina Panthers prior to your position now with the NFL Network. What do you know about him, and what is he bringing to the 49ers?
It's an amazing hire for the 49ers. We heard John Lynch say today that he kind of reminds him of D'Amico Ryans, which I think for this 49ers team to have somebody of that caliber come in and take this number one defense hopefully to the same exact thing next season is going to be great. And everybody in Carolina loves Steve Wilks. We know the reports that they all wanted him to become the head coach of that team, and what he was able to do coming in after Matt Rule was fired and taking this team, just a couple plays away from going to the playoffs is such a huge opportunity, now with the 49ers to do just as good there. So I think it's an amazing hire, and he's going to fit in really well with this scheme that they have.